Hello. Alright, greetings and zentras. Good day and welcome to Ba Sensei. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Alright. I am trying out my new earphones that came in as well, so hopefully they go okay. So far they sound okay. Hopefully it doesn't have that glitchy thing anymore. But welcome guys. Hope everyone's been doing well. Hi Anis, I missed you. I miss you guys too. Yeah, I've been working hard. I've been even today up until like literally just before stream started. I almost I started like a few minutes late because I was kind of locked in. And I was like, oh wait, no, I meant to start stream. Crap, let me save and close everything first. But I was yeah, I've been working the whole day, so. Question, what is D&D? D&D is Dungeons and Dragons, so pretty much just kind of like a TTRPG, tabletop role-playing game. So pretty much it's just we're gonna build a fantasy map so that in the future maybe I can run some basic games and we can base it on the map we build on stream as well, which might be kind of fun. Yeah, we're just gonna build any kind of fantasy map. I guess we won't doesn't have to. I guess we'll just, you know, we'll see how it goes. I want your input as well when we build stuff so that, you know, we can all work on this together. Hopefully that helps a bit as well. But yeah, man, I've been so locked in. I realize I still got a little bit of my morning coffee left. I didn't even drink all of it, but okay, there we go. It is done. Anyway, you love fantasy. I love fantasy as well. I do want to do more D&D stuff this year. So, you know, maybe just run some random one-shots as well. They don't have to be related to lore or anything else, but you know, stuff like where it's just fun adventures or fun little one-shots. Maybe, you know, based on the theme of the season or something like, you know. Valentine's is a bit too close right now, but imagine like I could do a Valentine's one shot or like a, I don't know, beach episode one shot in the summer or like whatever it is. I think those kind of things might be fun. And, you know, I don't have to try connect it too much to a bunch of other things, but, you know, it always helps to have a kind of map in a world to set these kind of things in as well. So yeah, we're gonna build a map together, guys. And yeah, we will see how it goes. Hi, Altus. Eccentric art stream. Yippee, yes. It's an art stream. It's not the... I guess it's, you know, a kind of art stream. It's gonna be, I'm gonna be drawing maps, but yeah. And Jared as well, thank you so much for 4 months of love and friendship. Welcome back. And video reveals it was not yet begun for the first, but it's already finished. Alright, but welcome back, Jared. Hope you're having a good day. And Ariga, thank you so much for the gifted fishy as well. If you got a gifted fishy, don't forget to thank them. But thank you for keeping our emotes alive. We've got lots of fun emotes. I puzzled the Oni. Yes, I had no idea what you're talking about. But you know. Thank you for coming back. That's the most important thing. I appreciate it. And Kawhi, thank you for the 5 gifted fishies as well. I appreciate it. Once again, if you got a gifted fishy, please remember to thank them. But guys, I don't even want to keep saying this, but I feel like I have to keep saying this. Like, how are we already halfway past January? My birthday's coming up, so many things are coming up so soon. I feel like I've been putting my head down and working so hard every day, but at the same time, like, there's just so much work and everything that I still need to do. Ooh, gotta lock in, guys. Gotta lock in. Time moving too fast. I know it is definitely moving way too fast, but you know, it's like my birthday's in like 1.5 months, guys. I still don't know what I want to do for my. I feel like I'm planning for so many things in the year already. I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure what I want to do for my actual birthday. On my actual birthday, I'll do some kind of stream, but I just don't know what kind of stream, you know, I want to do as well. We will figure it out. We will figure it out. I sent my schedule in for next week as well, so waiting for Monday-san's approval before I can tell you about that. But it should be fun. We will see how it goes. I am feeling a lot better as well, so I think next week sometime we will start with doing the workout rewards as well. So I'm not sure if we have to break the workout rewards into multiple streams or not, but at least next week sometime we're gonna attempt to do some of those rewards, at least a few hundred of each. If not all of them, at least we can, you know, we can do like a third or half of them. We will see how it goes. But yeah, fitness arc is surely gonna be underway. We hit a little bump in the road, or like a stumble on the stairs, if you will. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. When in doubt, Mario Kart with the boys. Not gonna lie, I don't really like Mario Kart that much. I used to love Mario Kart back when it was on the Nintendo DS, because there's a technique called snaking that requires a lot more skill, and it was so much more fun because you actually get, it's like once you learn it, there's no way someone who doesn't know snaking can beat you. But now I feel like, I don't know, you can't do that. They took away a lot of things with Mario Kart where it's not as fun anymore. I feel like it's just kind of very beginner friendly, but at the same time, like, you know, me and my friends used to be like super competitive in Mario Kart, and when they took away a lot of the actual skill that you needed for all the little boosts and everything, I was like, I don't want to play it anymore. Like, I'll still play it if, you know, the boys are playing, but at the same time, yeah, definitely after the DS version, when they started making it easier for everybody, it was kind of at least to me, I was like, oh man, all my hard work of learning how to go super fast, beating all the, like, trying to beat all the records and stuff is went down the drain. So yeah, now when I just play, I just do it to like chuck shells at the boys or something. But yeah, so I mean, it's not like I hate Mario Kart, because, you know, I used to be super into Mario Kart. It's just, you know, now I guess I don't see it as something that I will try hard on. I just go, okay, whatever. It's you know, it's more about playing with the boys than rather the game. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'd suggest maybe an FSP D&D session. I do want to do that. I think, you know, in the future I do want to run more D&D games. But I'll just, you know, pick some boys from anywhere in FSP as well. It doesn't have to be strictly from Ravenous or anything. I'll just see, you know, who's interested, who wants to play at a certain time, who's available for a one-shot, and then, you know, we'll try to get a good rotation so that we get different people as well. Hopefully doing things. My goal is to do at least 4 one-shots this year, guys. that's the goal. At least 4 different one-shots for D&D, which I think we can do. I mean, I used to run literally weekly sessions, so you know, doing one every 3 months doesn't sound too hard. So we will see what happens. Yeah. But yeah, today we will be building the map that most of the D&D sessions will be based on. we can build lots of different things in the map so that you know, we can have lots of options on where I want to put it. Like we'll put some snowy places, the desert, magical forest, a lot of seas and islands and everything. So we'll try out all of that. Let me, 1 second. I want to see if I can find... Okay, yeah, I do have something I can show you guys. 1 second. Let me search. Let me search my computer and see if I can find some examples of maps I built in the past for my own D&D games. Alright. Where would I put it? Alright. If I was a D&D map on my computer, where would I hide? Maybe in here. That's not it. Maybe in here. That's not it. Here. Here. Alright, at least I found one. Okay, let us switch to this. And let us get underway. Thank you for the signs of life on Twitter, by the way. Gamba with locking in. Alright, I have to be very careful. Let's open a new map. How big should the map be? Like... we want it relatively big so we can zoom in. You know what? Let's make it just giant. Alright. You mostly can't tell, but this is a 6,000 by 4,000 pixel file, so hopefully. Alright. Have you ever used Roll20 for online D&D? I have. I have indeed. Alright, before that, let me quickly open. Okay. I'm being so careful not to accidentally open something I shouldn't. I've been working on a lot of art and I'm like, please don't click that file and accidentally spoil something. Alright. Show us the yaoi? No, I'm not talking about like NSFW kind of things. I'm talking about like secret project things I'm working on. You know, designs for certain things and all of that. Okay. I can kinda show you this. If you guys haven't, I think I had this in my debut sites as well. But this was a map I made before in the past for one of my D&D games as well. But we'll be building something similar to this today, I think. But like, you know, a bunch of mountains, we got like swamps, we've got some magical... This was like just a little bit. I actually had like... It would mostly be, if you can see... Like the map was this big. And then I just took a little portion and detailed it even more. But I had a huge world map as well, not just like a little tiny bit. But this was like where the campaign was centered on, so it was normally a lot bigger as well. Thank you for the gift. Gonna sit back and draw to watching. Can't wait to see amazing art you make by the end. Thank you so much, and yeah, I appreciate it. And welcome back for 2 months of love and friendship as well. Have you tried Mappa Imperium? What is Mappa Imperium? I draw all of my maps by hand, by the way. I'm not sure what it is, but I like hand drawing my maps. Everything was just drawn by hand for me. I feel like, I don't know, there's just something nice about it as well. And Mr. Johan, thank you so much for the posture check. Everybody stretch. It's a world-building game where you basically roll through historical events and shape the map as it goes along. I see. That sounds interesting. Alright, but yeah, so we're going to most probably, hopefully build something like this afterwards as well. And then you can see I just put a bunch of random names and stuff into it, but you know, we can make our own names up for this new world and everything when we build it as well. But yeah, something like this. Anyway, here's our map. What I'm gonna do right now is get a... You know what, I'm going to grab this color here and alright, I'm gonna start with this, maybe make it a bit lighter for now, but just so you're not staring at pure white the whole time, I will we will do this, make it a bit easy on your eyes. Alright, okay, so the first thing we need to do for maps is, let me just use this pen. Okay, cool. Does D&D always have such a big map? It really depends, like, you know, it depends on a lot of things. Like, say, a lot of times for D&D, right, if it's just based around a certain city or village, it could literally just be like mountains. Here's one village or something, and then it could be a big fortress here, and then a forest here, and then a line through there. That could be what the map is. D&D can be as big or small as you want it. It depends on the focus as well of what it is, but for me, I kind of I'm very into world building, as you guys might guess, and you know, if you guys, it depends, because, you know, sometimes you don't need to leave this area and the players don't need to leave the area, because I want to build a whole, like, almost world map or continent map, so that I have different places that I can do the one-shots and, like, focus on. I'm going to be making, like, a much bigger map, at least a continent or like an island kind of thing, rather than just, you know, focus. We can zoom in for, like, specific okay, going back to the example of what I had before, say for this map, this is already zoomed in from, like, my whole world map, but a lot of times, like, right here, necessarily this much of the map was where a lot of the campaign I did took place for one of my D&D things that I ran. So the map would only have to be like this big, pretty much centering on high water and everything. But the good thing about, you know, drawing a big map as well is you can just zoom in afterwards and use these as, like, little maps to give to your players and everything. Yeah. Alright, so for drawing land masses or islands and stuff, there's a bunch of different ways people can do it. Pretty much, you know, you don't want an island to look like this. Right? I mean, you could have an island that looks like that, but obviously normally you want your island to somewhat look a little more interesting of a shape. Kind of like if you look at any kind of a landmass on a world map, you see that, you know, they're recognizable shapes, but very distinct as well. Yeah, that's also like something that you have to think of. I know a lot of people, depending if you're drawing it by hand, like physically, I know some people a kind of popular method is like, imagine if this was like paper, right? What a lot of people do is they would just chuck a bunch of things onto the paper, like a bunch of dice or something, and so like you'd see the dice land on the paper, wherever. Depends how much dice you have, like this. And then, oh yeah, and then they'll be like, okay, let me just go around and pretend that wherever these dice landed is where I'm going to draw my map here. And you know, you end up getting a kind of unique shape. It's like, okay, this is my and this is the shape of my island, or whatever it is, you know. You kind of wanted to make it, you want to make it, you know, kind of unique, and I guess this does have a bunch of different features as well. But I know that's a kind of common one as well, but obviously I can't do that using digital. I can't just chuck stuff on my screen. Otherwise it's gonna fall down. Although technically, I mean, that kind of worked already, just placing random things. You know, I guess digitally I could just literally go much bigger. Like I just put a few dots around everywhere, not looking. And then after that, then I could go in and kind of go around these things and try and make it look interesting. Which, you know what, I feel like we could kind of do. I feel like this is kind of an interesting shape to play with as well. Alright, if we do that, that can also be one island, so you know what, we could put that here. Here. Alright, there's one island. Let's make another one. You know what? I feel like we can do this method. Alright, how many islands do we want? I'm not sure. But at the same time, it's kind of, you know, you don't think too much about these, how it looks, you know. Sometimes I'm not gonna follow it exactly, or sometimes maybe I will. But you kind of just let your imagination run wild. Even this one, like, we can totally just have this whole split in the middle, which could be interesting as well. And just kind of, oh, all right, something like that. All right, there we go. Take this away, and there's a different island as well. How big is the world? You have ideas? This is completely from scratch. This one I am literally just building from scratch to with you guys to kind of show as well. You know what we can do as well? We can flip this around the other way, and you know, that kind of fits together in a way. Look at this. It looks like it belongs together, right? You know, like the whole islands fit in together. We could even bring it a bit closer. Alright, that kinda works. And then, you know what? We'll bring it here. And we can even just make little other islands going around here as well to fill in the gap. Stuff like that. Okay, I do want to like it looking a bit more random. But who knows what happened to this island. One other thing to keep in mind as well, I try to like, if possible, if there's a bunch of things like this, I try to, okay, this would be a simplification, but when I draw an island, it's kind of like I'm thinking more horizontally rather than vertically, because if there's a few different dots and I go, I feel like vertically it kind of looks a bit weirder on a 3D, because it's kind of like a 2.5D map where it's not like, obviously when you draw, technically if it was a bird's eye view, then like the mountains I draw shouldn't look like this, right? They should technically like just be like spiral points, like a pyramid when you look at it, like the side of a mountain like this. But because we are doing it a bit more like a 2.5D kind of thing, and it's almost like, you know, we're standing here and we're looking at this view, I do try to keep maps looking, when I draw in this as well, you see that I try not to go down too much. It's more like this kind of thing as well, and it creates more natural shapes as well. Just in case you guys try to do the same thing and wonder why it looks a bit weirder as well, it's mostly because you used too many vertical lines, and then that makes it look a bit weird rather than just going down the coast like this kind of thing. All right. Do you already have a story for your map? No, I created a map completely from scratch for this, and then we can make a story as we go. I want to do this all together with you guys. So right now I do not have anything. This is completely random. You saw me just dot the page randomly as well. So yeah. But yeah, we can definitely just as well draw different things that can fit in. Is it gonna be a hex map? No, it's not. It's just gonna be a normal kind of map for people to look at, not really a hex map that's like measured by actual distance and everything. I mean, you can always put a hex grid on in the future if you want to play that way, but I normally, even for D&D, I don't really use hex grids, so yeah. There'll be a thing for every place, yes. We will try and make that, like we'll make mountains and we'll decide what goes there, get what goes in the forest and everything, and that would kind of like determine a lot of things about the place. Maybe some islands over the top, right? Yeah, I think what we can do as well, I think the other fun things that you can do as well is these that literally can also be part of, instead of making everything an island, I do want to keep this open so we have a whole area of sea, like maybe put some tiny, like an isle of different islands afterwards as well. So like that can be a little pirate adventure or something else, like sailing out into the sea and like finding deserted islands and everything. But for this part as well, sometimes what we can do, instead of making all of this separate islands and having too much land, what we can do, depending on the scale of the world, is if we just do this and I join them, and then say I join it here as well. This goes up, something like this, right? This can just be dividing lines for different nations or kingdoms as well. something like that, where now this is whole, like one whole landmass at least on this side, and then this is all water on that side as well. Obviously with different kingdoms as well, there's normally a reason why it's split. Like this could be a good area to put our mountains on as well, to justify why there's a splitting thing, or there can be like one big giant mountain here and then big rivers flowing that also separate the lands as well. Because normally when there's territories, there's normally geographical kind of things that separate you know, borders of a kingdom. Otherwise it makes it harder as well. So you know, this can be a pretty good map already. You know, if we just do all of this, then I can select this part, and what if I just make it a little darker? Alright, if I did this, there we go. Already you can see for the most part, there we got land and we got ocean, and then obviously I can just quickly Alright, I'm not doing this too neatly, but you get the idea, right? It's also important to note, like, for this one as well, like, what I'm doing right now, I'm not focusing too much on it. Like, afterwards, when I'm kind of happy with the map, you know, I can lower the opacity, get a good, nice textured brush, and then like actually go in and like properly, you know, turn it vertical or something, and like, you know, try and make it so that it looks even nicer and everything, so it looks like this rather than just whatever. But for now, that's too much detail we have to focus. First we want to make sure it looks good and everything looks alright before we start going into like all of that detail and like shading and everything. We want to plot out all of the points first. Yeah. But yeah, so this is our current thing, what we're focused on, I guess. This is our current map. Now we can already we can start seeing, like, you know, there's right now there's at least four different big land masses or territories. We can start thinking, you know, who owns these territories and everything. You know, we can start, and that can also like help us think about like different things that we can add on the map. Like when we start adding towns and cities, maybe what's the big city, what's the you know, smaller cities, what's the main ones and everything. Can we add compass to the map just for aesthetics? That is at the end. For, you know, the titles and fancy stuff like a compass and everything, I put that at the very end, the finishing touches, rather than at this point. But yeah, sometimes just thinking about this, for the most part, 90% I think of, especially for like, you know, if I'm thinking about a fantasy world as well, most of the time, the majority of cities and towns and everything is going to be built around somewhere near a body of water. It normally just makes things a lot easier as well. You know, people need water to survive. Water is like a very essential thing. So most of the time you'd see like cities built like here along the coastline, or you say if this was a mountain with rivers, that'd be built along here rather than just in the middle of here, unless this has like some other river running through it as well. So we can start thinking of stuff like that as well. Can we have a mysterious dark forest? Of course, we always need a mysterious dark forest. There's lots of things like, you know, when we build a forest, we can have, you know, a magical enchanted forest, we can have a dark forest, we can have a haunted forest, we can have just a, you know, bright and lush forest and everything. How about a prison? There's lots of prisons. It's fantasy. Every castle and keep has a prison. That's just how it is. They throw naughty adventurers in. Yes, there are. We can have a prison, and it'll be magic, so you can't escape, really. But you know, just looking at this as well, most of the time, once again, you know, I'm thinking most of what I like is something like this, mountain ranges, that kind of divide the different lands as well, stuff like this. Wait, not magic? I'm making a fantasy world. You don't have magic, do you? It will be magic. All you have to do to escape is say you have to have magic. That's all. Literally. But yeah, for this one as well, what we can do is have this here. Maybe we can add a nice big mountain here, and then maybe just the stream is coming down for this mountain, and there's a big river. The only thing is most of the time, if we're looking at this, because the sea is here as well, all of the moisture and rain would come here. Because there's a bunch of high mountains, normally there would be like a forest on this side, or this side, and here. But because there's a high mountains here, normally this one would have a lot less forest here. So maybe this whole area can be like a desert kind of area as well. So it gives a whole different vibe, you know. When we have a desert area, then you know, it can be like the ancient tombs or you know, forgotten kind of fortresses and everything. So it gives a whole different adventure to go on as well. So if I set something here, then it can be about like, you know, a kind of Indiana Jones Tomb Raider kind of thing with a bunch of mummies and whatever else. You know, that kind of vibe. Versus like if we have like, say, an enchanted forest here, and then maybe to the north here, because maybe there's no mountains blocking it, there's still a whole forest here. Maybe this part here is the dark forest, and you know, we could maybe open this up a little bit and put some mountains there. But maybe the whole reason why this is a nice forest, but the reason that splits it to kingdoms is it turns into a creepy dark forest around here. And, you know, maybe it's the forest that separates and borders this kind of thing. Mountains in information would also suggest two lines bordering the sea were pushed there longer the planet's movement, the countries on either side might have rivalry. Yeah, we can always kind of decide in the future as well, like what kingdom has a rivalry with which needs to aid each other and everything. But yeah, something like that. Like we could also, to further it, if we have like mountains here as well, it means that the kingdom on this side doesn't really have easy access to much water, so they would have to go through here. Which means, you know, they might rely on trade with this country a lot, so maybe these two have an alliance. But then because there's, you know, these random small islands between these two, then maybe these two countries are always at war, these two nations or whatever are always at war because, you know, maybe they're both trying to claim these islands as their own, and maybe these islands have some special, whatever it is, you know. We can be like, this secret magical mineral can only be found on these islands, like some mithril kind of thing or whatever. And so these two islands are always, you know, these two kingdoms are always fighting over it. And then, you know, you can kind of build out a whole world from there as well. But, you know, you kind of see as well, just making random things and looking at maps that you don't think too hard on, then you can start thinking more about it and start also getting understanding more, or like, you know, either it's kind of like I'm not thinking about everything from scratch because I'm looking at what would reasonably happen as well. Then, you know, that's also a way as well. Yeah, it comes naturally, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of how we do. Maybe we can put like a little mountain range here, but still has enough forest on either side. But yeah, already as you can see here, we'll put a few sand dunes here. Then we're starting to, you know, it's starting to take shape on everything that's happening here. My 4 brain cells have started working. This is so creatively stimulating. Yeah, that's kind of why one of the fun things about world building as well, where you know, a lot of times it's just fun to think of what ifs and everything, and how things would. And the other thing is, you know, especially with fantasy, not all of these have to be human kingdoms. They can be like different races, and see how the different species or races like interact with each other and stuff. And dragons, yeah, we can totally put like this big tower here, or this big mountain can be like where the dragons are as well. And you know, maybe because the dragons have claimed this island, no one fights against this island, because this technically is like the dragon territory, where people have to be respectful, otherwise dragons come and burn down the city. Or maybe the dwarves have that mountain, you know, the whole digging in for minerals in that mountain. Or maybe the dwarves are like this whole mountain chain for mining and stuff. There's lots of different things that you can think of as well for that. Fantasy, geopolitics, yeah. Like some race might be afraid of water, so they set away from the rivers and seas. I like countries where people coexist with horses. That's another thing, like, you know, maybe this whole thing here, because it's mostly open plains, like there's no mountain areas as well. It's just fishing, you know, a bunch of like surrounded by water and stuff, but a whole area. Maybe these people have, you know, started to rely on fantasy horses. They don't even have to be horses, you know, they can be some kind of horse, but like, you know, changing them. You know how it's like chocobos from Final Fantasy as well, how it's like some kind of mount, but you can always change it up so that it makes it feel more fantasy as well. I feel like horses are fantasy enough, so you can still get away with horses, but like, you know, you can think of different things as well that each place uses as well for different mounts as well. You know, we could totally have, you know, the whole woods, but maybe this place has a lot of like just mountain areas, and this might be the dwarf kingdom, you know. And instead of riding horses here, because it's got so many mountains, maybe the dwarves ride like mountain goats, or they ride like these giant gecko lizards or something. So it makes each world like more unique if every kind of place has their own mounts and like, you know, kind of flora and fauna unique to them as well. You start thinking of different things as well, and which can kind of shape how everyone sees you know, when you draw cities and everything, big nebbies, something like that. And then, you know, kind of like Avatar, exactly. And, you know, stuff like this where I could totally... Wait. Maybe I want to bring it in a little bit more. At the same time, like, if we want something to be a bit more, we could make that a little okay, so for here I can, because like right now back here, I think if I had this kind of map, it would definitely be focused more on these two, because these two kingdoms are the central point. But if we want something that's a bit more like if we want something that, you know, maybe in terms of world building as well, we want something that has a bit more, then instead of pushing these other kingdoms to the side, we can focus a little bit more on them as well. Yeah, as well. Something like this. And then, you know, the mountain range expands. And that way, like, you know, maybe all of this is more forest, and there's lots of forest in this northern part. And then it leads to like, maybe this whole place is a snowy area as well that we can put. Because normally, it depends where you go, but most of the time, north is kind of the towards the, you know, snow. But, you know, south could also be towards the snow. But, you know, most of the time, I guess in fantasy maps, because they're kind of based more on like Europe and everything. Or at least, you know, that's what at least the first ones are. So normally north is snow, south is more tropical. But you can always swap it around, or if you do a whole world map, south, and then the middle can be tropical like the normal world as well. But yeah, you can kind of have something like this, where now we can definitely do more with this. Maybe the elves live in this forest as well, because it's more foresty. Maybe this is the elves, this is dwarves, this is, who knows, we can think of another race to be here, and then this can be the human kingdom as well, on their horses and everything. What about placing rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water? So most of the time, well, 99.9% of the time, the rivers and everything always, I mean, 100% of the time, rivers go from top to bottom, in terms of they go from the highest point, which are normally mountains or hills or anything, and then they run down to the lowest point as well. Which means that, you know, we can, if you want, you can do a few rivers, like from mountains normally leading out to the sea, and that can have interesting things where instead of being right next to here, a town can be here, and it makes sense because they're next to a large river, or something like that. Or, you know, oasis in a desert as well. Perhaps there is a small oasis here in the desert region, and this is where the main kingdom normally, like something like this. Normally kind of it depends how you want to draw stuff, but like small villages can be like something like that. If you want to make it a bigger village, you could do like a watchtower as well when you do it, and then you can start adding fortifications and, you know, castles and stuff. It's like little things. Obviously they would be like small on the map, but little markers as well. But normally something that looks like this is normally some kind of fortress. But yeah, it's anyone, you can do whatever you want for this as well. But yeah, maybe because this is the only proper water system or amount of water in this whole desert area, most of the places are like centered around here. So this is like the main kingdom. There might be a smaller city here, and maybe there's a whole, normally dotted lines kind of represent like the roads and stuff, but maybe there's some kind of thing making its way towards that kingdom as well. You know, through the sand dunes and stuff, and maybe there's a few checkpoint stops along the way as well. And there's like a kind of big city here somewhere, and that's where they do all the trade with this country or kingdom for all of the for all of their water needs and stuff. And that itself can be a whole thing, guys. You know, we could totally have a whole one-shot or like a little mini campaign about, like, when you see stuff like this as well, you know, maybe the players could be set in, they were from this nation, right, kingdom, and their task is right now, you know, there's they have to escort a caravan that normally, you know, gets a lot of water and kind of supplies it to a lot of these small villages along the way to the main kingdom, making sure they have enough water. So your job is to like negotiate with these guys to purchase enough water, and then you have to make it all the way back here without while trying to not get you know, while being attacked by bandits and everything who are trying to also steal water, since water would be like a precious commodity for this place. And you know, just trying to make it back there, braving sandstorms and everything. That can be like a very fun, just one-shot kind of thing as well to do. Stuff like that. Where you can see, like, if you just look at the maps, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do with how you want to, like, just run an adventure, any kind of adventure. Same thing, like, maybe people from this place and they want to, they found a gem that, like, you know, maybe the elf kingdom has bought for a very high price, but they need to deliver the gem to the elves and they have to go through this dark forest to do so, or whatever it is. But by having maps and everything, it's a lot easier to think of things where you don't have to do, it doesn't have to be all in your imagination, because you can see a bunch of things happening as well. Yeah, stuff like that. But you can kind of see how, you know, once again, maybe the Dwarf Kingdom, you know, their main thing is in the hills here. And maybe because you know, for me, because I am influenced a lot by Lord of the Rings, because I love Lord of the Rings and typical fantasy, dwarves are good miners kind of thing. Then, you know, they make their stronghold here because maybe they're really good at mining, so like they just have like underground passageways through the mountains to a lot of different things, so this is the perfect place for them as well. Can we fill the rest of the ocean? We can. Alright, I might have to just grab this part, grab this. Wait, why is this not working? Oh, it's because of this break here. 1 second. Making sure. Okay. There we go. Alright. They're good at minding their own business. But yeah, stuff like that. And you know, I had one kind of, I forgot where I saw it, but there was like one theory is like, you know, who would make really good kind of Viking-esque people? Well, kind of like there was like a theory about dwarves being really good salesmen or like sailors and stuff. Kind of like the Vikings, because for dwarves, right, most of the time, at least how they're depicted in fantasy, because they're normally a bit like typical human being, and then this is normally a dwarf, they're like a lot more sturdy and stout, we have long beards and everything, because their center of gravity is closer to the ground as well. And they are normally a bit wide as well. It's a lot easier for them to balance on a boat rather than someone that's tall as a human. Which would make them a lot better at like navigating and sailing and keeping you know, not falling over all the time on like ships and everything. So maybe you know, there could be because of that there can be a whole strong port of like a big city here of the dwarves, and you know, obviously the dwarves are like shiny metals and everything, minerals, and that's why they're trying to claim this thing here, while the humans also have something here that they're trying to claim that as well. They won't get seasick, exactly. And then elves can have their like fancy towers and stuff, but mostly like they can, you know, we can put a whole giant tree here as well. You know, those kind of world tree-esque giant trees where a lot of the elves can live and they just live in the forest around. Stuff like that kind of makes it feel fantasy-ish. But then you know, we can also, just to make things a bit more interesting as well, put a few more mountains so it's not just ore. Like all of this is mostly desert as well. The Yggdrasil, not really the Yggdrasil tree. It's, I mean, we could, depends how important we want to make this. Maybe that's why this whole place is like a dark forest, because the elves kind of want to keep it as a dark forest so that it scares away outsiders so they can't get to there. Who knows? But there's you know, there's a lot of, depends, whatever you make, you can always give importance. Since it's fantasy and we're just world building, you can give importance to whatever you want, you know. This can be the most important tree in the world, where if this tree dies, the whole world dies, because, you know, there's magical ley lines that all, you know, come to here from around the world. And if this tree dies, then like everything loses its life energy. If you want. There's so many different things where you can just think of something on why it would work. This thing as well, most probably a lot of mountainous region here, which makes it very hard for these guys to just go straight here to get water, which is why they have to kind of rely on these guys over here. But yeah, stuff like that. Maybe there's a whole river system running here that takes the shape of another small, or comparatively small, but mostly really big lake right here. And maybe these guys have built a whole defensive fortress here just to stop people from invading. Just having giant trees around are pretty cool. Yeah, you can signify giant trees a lot of different ways. They can be like the kind of pine, they can be any kind of tree as well. And the other thing as well, when you draw trees, there's so many different ways of drawing trees. You can just do the, it looks like this kind of thing, and you put little branches and everything. And this can be how a forest looks, right? This can be a small forest here. Or you can do a bunch of circles as well. It depends, it's all just stylistic on the map. You can do it like this. You can do a bunch of triangles to make it look more like pines. And same thing, you don't have to do all of the pines. You can do that kind of thing and then make this look like pine trees. And each region can kind of have more specific trees that are like based on them as well. And maybe this whole area is like there's forest here, and there's a path. Who knows, there's might be some kind of elvish thing here as well that guards this way. Maybe they have a huge mountain as well that has been supplying of the place with water. But yeah, okay, it looks a little messy now, but you can kind of see how it's fun to, especially for world building, it is kind of fun to think of like, and it kind of builds itself in a way where you just think about what would happen in different places, and then you can kind of start filling in the gaps of the whole world and everything. The 2.5D perspective is so good. Yeah, I do like it because, I don't know, it just gives that fantasy map feel as well. But, you know, in these stages, definitely as well, it's more important to get your thoughts down and everything. It doesn't matter how messy it is, as long as you can kind of understand what is happening here. You know, you kind of understand. And maybe technically, you know, we could also do small mountains here. Maybe this whole area is just the elvish part, and then this other area is more like snow, and we can be like, you know, that kind of snowy area. where, you know, once again, different biomes also means that you can add different monsters and everything in adventures. You can have like yetis, you can have like a bunch of other ice creatures and everything, and just gives a different feel as well. So, you know. So many mountains, yeah. Mostly, a lot of times mountains are like what splits a lot of land. So mountains are kind of good for that as well. And you know, at the same time, it might look big, but that's because we're like zoomed out, but like, it can be like, we could just do a whole thing here between like the rivalry between the humans and dwarves, and just focus on this much of it as well. So it only looks like mountains are bordering the map, or we can zoom out and see everything. You know, we can zoom in on this one. That's kind of like, you know, when we make this, it's easy to zoom in on small parts and like have different maps and everything. Yeah. And then for this as well, maybe this one doesn't even... Alright. Well, you make more detailed map for every region. I guess that depends. Like maybe when I'm about to, if I choose a certain region to run a game in, like say like, you know, in the future, if I want to focus on a certain region, then I can just zoom in and like draw a more detailed map of that area. But I'm not just gonna do it straight away. How about little village of Dragonborns? I mean, that could totally just be like on this island that's claimed by the dragons. Maybe, once again, Dragonborns, there's so many different myths, and depends what you want to go with how Dragonborns came to be and stuff, but maybe they do serve the dragons of this mountain, so they can live on this island. No one tries to overtake this island because the dragons are guarding them. And so that can literally be where all the Dragonborns, well, most of the Dragonborns live. Something like that. How many village, town, cities is there typically per area? Once again, it can be infinite. It can be as big or small as you want as well. Like, the scale of these maps as well is up to you. Like, this, you know, if you're thinking about fantasy, like, how many days travel would it be from here to here? You could say 2 days travel and they could get to here. Or you could say it takes 2 weeks travel to get to here. And it just depends on the scale of the map, and how big the map is kind of how, you know, how many villages or towns and stuff you want to put in as well. So maybe looking at this from, say, what we've already done here, you'd estimate from going here to here, the reason that would have a town here would most likely because that's 1 day's travel, that's another day, maybe this is 2 days travel. And so like we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 days travel from here to here. And so, you know, most of the time how these kind of work, if you're going on a road as well, most little towns or villages are built in those places, either because there's some kind of special thing there, like there's a lake there, or there's some kind of minerals they're mining there, or because you know, because it is just a rest stop on the way to like the main city and everything. So you can kind of also do that, space out your And of course, normally you wouldn't go straight through. Maybe you go along the coast. So you'd find the towns in this kind of formation. And that's how you can kind of build your towns out. Because, you know, sure you can think of a reason, unless you can think of a reason, if the town's right here, it doesn't make much sense. If a town's very far away from water in the middle of the desert, 3 days travel from any other kind of population, you know, you could put a town there, but unless they have like their own little water source and you have to build out a whole thing for them, it doesn't make sense for them to be that, you know. So you can think of it like that, and then of course maybe here, this is where the human kingdom is because it's right next to this whole river system here. Stuff like that. Don't forget to fix that border. Which border? Oh, here. Alright, I've been kind of... It doesn't matter too much for this. You know, because later on if I want to redraw it, I'll turn the whole opacity down of everything. And kind of redraw it. And a lot of times you don't actually need these actual borders. When you see the mountains on the map, you can kind of see how things are divided as well. Is the eastern region also humanoid? It could be. I kind of like having like different you know, I kind of like having different kingdoms have different, because especially in fantasy there's so many different races or species or however you want to call it. It's more interesting if each place is governed by a different kind of race as well, because then you know, the architecture and everything else will be also different from there, because depending on how they are, like, you know, the houses in the dwarf kind of kingdom would be a lot, you know, their doors would be a lot smaller or shorter as well. And then who knows, you know, you can design it to be a lot different as well. So I'm normally kind of like only having one, maybe two, like, things, like maybe there's a human settlement up here in the north, or something, if we can think of why. But most of the time, you know. And of course you can also, like, it doesn't have to exactly be each kingdom has its own just specific race here, like, you know, maybe here and here, maybe they're a mix of like both dwarf and humans on both sides. It's just that you know, the dwarves and humans get along really well. It's just that these two kingdoms are still fighting over that mithril because they're both dwarf human kingdoms, and they both really like shiny stuff. So it doesn't have to be exactly human, like this is just human, this is dwarf, this is elf. You can also mix it up as well, and you know, there's some, you can have some special cities where like it has all of the different races in it and everything. It's not a fantasy world without a wizard tower. Of course, you gotta put multiple wizard towers around, but you know, those are obviously like powerful archmages or something if they have their own tower. And so that's like separate kind of stuff to most of the kingdom stuff. But you know, those are also things that you can put in, like say, in the dark forest there's a dark wizard's tower right here. Or like, you know, on this tip right here, there's another kind of wizard tower. And everything. Because this wizard kind of likes his solitude and likes to be alone. But, you know, if the kingdom needs him, then he will help, or whatever it is. Yeah, then obviously we can do a few other little islands here for like a more nautical adventure. But yeah, we're kind of building them out. And now that we're kind of getting an idea of like how everything is, now we're getting more of an idea of, say, the different kind of kingdoms and what they're doing. Then we can also start thinking of like naming the kingdoms as well. And you know, you can always, for naming as well, it's just, you know, you can base some off like, obviously different words have different kind of, the sounds of each word also has like a certain flavor to them. I guess, especially in fantasy, something sounds sort of elvish where you can make up, or something sound like, you know, maybe for some kind of orcish thing you want it to be a bit more like harsh or guttural kind of words or sounds as well. You know, where the elvish stuff you want it to kind of flow off the tongue a bit easier, or if you know, for the dwarvish ones you want it to sound like solid words, if you get what I mean, as well. But you know, a lot of fun as well is kind of thinking of the names for everything. And for human kingdoms, normally obviously for the humans, you default to your main language, so you know, obviously I speak English, so I would normally have the humans kind of name their stuff as in English, or you know, something that sounds kind of a bit more human anyway. But then again, it also depends on the map as well, because maybe this map in this world, this map was made by a human, so maybe they might translate everything to human speech. And so, you know, even though this place would be like, say this place was run by orcs or something, right? And orcs don't have to be bad. Like in D&D, orcs are kind of like just another species or race. They're not like Lord of the Rings orcs where they're inherently evil. You know, maybe there's a bunch of like orcs and lizard men here versus there's giants up in the north. Who knows? But you can start thinking of like place names by like how each thing would be called. And a lot of times, how things are normally called, how things get their name is actually through very literal naming. You know, just, you know, it might have evolved from the past, but a lot of times, like when you translate different places around the world, and what like the city names or like town names or whatever are, it's literally you know, very like a literal translation, like big river or small lake or clear lake or something like that, and you can make it sound a little fancier, but you know, that also can kind of help, you know, I guess, you know, if you look at any kind of fantasy naming, there's kind of like a thing for it where it also helps where you can kind of make up different things and people can start understanding a certain language, because maybe, you know, it's kind of like where we say this is something river, like, you know, I can't even think of one. I'm trying to think of like a river name, but you know, so and so river. In English, we're always gonna have like a river or lake for something, but in the Orcish language or something, it can be, I don't know, like nook. Like maybe it can be like, I don't know how that's spelled, or whatever, but maybe this is like how the orcs would say it for at least rivers. So you can be something something nook, and then you can have like, you know, a bunch of different places, and this is the or end with like, or start with nook as well. And then when people see that, they'll be like, oh, this word appears in all of the rivers or something, or lakes around here, so that must be like an orcish word for like river or something like that. And you know, it kind of gives like a little bit more for the for your players, where like, oh, I understand some of this made up language or something like that, if you know what I mean. Even if you don't actually make up a language for it, if you keep the naming kind of consistent as well, people kind of understand it a bit more, and it kind of makes it a little more immersive as well. Hello, Mrs. Fujer, how's it going? But that's kind of stuff that like I think about when I make these kind of maps. If you know what I mean, you know. And it just makes it feel a little more alive as well. You can do stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, already we've kind of made a decent, kind of sounds cute if it's a repeat word. Yeah, I mean, it depends once again how you want each kind of language to feel, or the vibes you want to give off as well. But yeah, it's really up to you if, you know, what you want to do when you're like building a world and everything. The Nook. Yeah, maybe, you know, if Nook is lake, maybe this main center thing is called Nook. Because maybe it's like a lake because it's like a big lake, who knows. You know, you can have fun with words like that, but that's like a whole thing where like it could totally be like that, you know. You can totally think of different ways that you can you know, make that a thing, and then everyone knows that Nook, you know, afterwards, even though it's just a made-up word, it becomes something. It has like a lot of meaning, where when your players playing this and, you know, they say it, they might joke around with it, but it actually becomes a word in their head where they know what it means. Same as like mountains or like forests and everything. You know. And sometimes it can be fun to like give your players little riddles like that, where like, say, once again, Nook is river, but like, or lake, but we want something for forest, right? Maybe there's a small forest around here that is called something forest, and we have a name for forest, right? Like Tuck or something. And then maybe, you know, the dark forest is up here. And then they run into someone, you know, on their adventures who doesn't speak the common tongue. Normally, like, you don't say, like, English, because this is, like, a made-up place, but you'd say, like, common as in, like, what most people speak is why we call it common, as well. So, like, maybe they run into an orc who, you know, they're trying to find their way to the north, but they kind of lost here. But they know that this is called something Tuck. And then the orc says something about like some other thing ending in Tuck. And maybe they can, like, you know, if they know that this forest is called something Tuck, then they're like, okay, yes. They might grab onto that meaning or that word and try and understand and communicate and use that as like a clue to figure out where the dark forest is or whatever. Stuff like that. But, you know, there's a lot of things that go into world building. There's, you know, there's drawing a map, but like it is, well, at least to me, it is a lot of fun just imagining all of these things and, you know, building everything up. And stuff like that, you know, where you can just imagine as well how you can like spend hours and hours filling in the map, and then, you know, you might be changing something, like you might be like, because the orcs are here, then maybe, oh wait, then we might do something here. Or, you know, maybe because this, I might change the mountains here and make it something else. Or whatever it is, you know. And then you can have like points of interest on the map. Like, same thing here, even though this is a desert and this is like snow here, maybe there's a giant wall, like, you know, in Game of Thrones, how they have that big wall keeping out the whatever the things were from the north as well. Maybe there's a giant wall here that's also trying to keep out the giants from the north, or whatever it is, you know. And people see the map and be like, why is there a giant wall between the mountains? Yeah, and stuff like that, you know. Stuff like that, where it makes, if your players pay attention to the map, there's a lot of like points of interest that might also guide them. That normally happens in a longer campaign where, like, you know, there's little hints on the map for like players' backstory and everything, but because we're just gonna use it for one-shots and everything, it doesn't have to be exactly that. It doesn't have to be filled all the way with that. But, you know, you can always make lore for that as well. Yeah, maybe instead of like the White Walkers or zombies coming from the north, like a lot of things, maybe they're coming from the south. I don't know. Maybe, you know, this is kind of like, you know, obviously south it gets a bit more tropical or hotter, but you know, perhaps there's these other kind of zombies that are like, it's like a little virus thing where, like, if you, instead of like zombies, maybe you can think of a different thing, like where people catch on fire but they stay burning, but they're not, you know, they become undead burning fire zombies or something. And that can be a whole like campaign thing of like, you know, people trying to fight that off and everything. But I gotta go, no problem, Peter. But thank you for popping by, I appreciate it. But stuff like that, where, you know, you start thinking about, sometimes you think of common tropes that you hear all the time, then you try change it up a little to make it unique. But, you know, it's kind of, you want something kind of familiar but kind of different. So, you know, once again, maybe the fire zombies are stuff from the desert. Maybe it's this thing where, like, it's like a kind of superstition in the desert. If you, like, everyone wears a certain charm on them, because if you stay out in the desert for like too long or something without the charm, or like, you know, or maybe there's a sandstorm that happens, and if you don't take shelter in the sandstorm, there's a chance that you might catch that virus or whatever. There's lots of different things you can do for it, but you know, that kind of also helps make the world more interesting, where, like, okay, now with that whole adventure of you guys trying to bring water from here back to the city as well, you know, now you don't, not only do you have to worry about bandits, but there's a sandstorm that's going to be rolling around sometime on your adventure, and if you don't find a suitable place to hide, you might suffer from like the fire zombies also coming in or whatever. Which, you know, once again, that's like, whoever sees fire zombies, that's why, you know, that's that makes it like a whole, it feels like you're in a whole different world, if you get what I mean, and stuff like that. Where there's the sandstorm, maybe it's a reoccurring sandstorm that like travels around this whole kingdom and on a weekly basis, so like, you know, you have to time your trip or whatever, and yeah, stuff like that. Who knows? And then, you know, obviously with this, because, you know, if the sandstorm is going around, like, almost like a whirlwind going around this whole kingdom, the exact same, like, every single week, you know, in terms of just world building, all of these places, because the wind would be coming in from here, you know, maybe all of the doors for each of these kingdoms as well, at least for these ones, like, they all face east, and then the west side of it is all like a stronger fortified thing or slope. And so, you know, you'd have like huts that look like this a lot of times or something like that, where it's kind of so that the sandstorm would just go over them, and then that's gonna look very different. If you show you know, people, okay, this is how the this village looks like, and you know, where it's not just everything is just like a normal proper, you know, normal house, however you draw houses. You know, not everything's gonna look like a medieval European house. However they're meant to look, you know. It gives variety as well to where they stay. Like when they're in an inn or a village, it can look very different. Like where maybe the whole inn is just like a bigger version, where it has multiple doors and everything next to just the smaller ones. And you know, looking at this is very different to looking at obviously like these houses. Kind of thing. It just, you know, it's kind of fun things I like about world building, how the architecture is very different in every place, but also kind of having the architecture make sense. Kind of like, you know, in snowier areas that are a bit colder and get a lot of snow, the roofs are sloped a bit more so that the snow doesn't stay on and it kind of falls off as well, because obviously snow can get really heavy as well, and stuff like that. Where you know, just for me, it's always interesting thinking about why things are a certain way as well, and that's definitely very the case in world building, where like you can try change it up, especially for me being an artist as well. If I play D&D and stuff, I do like showing, at least sketching out some different things and stuff. Like I can describe it, of course, but I also do like having little images, even if it's just a sketch, for people to really immerse themselves in the world as well. But even just telling it, you know, even just thinking about it, you don't have to be an artist and sketch it. You could just say, you know, that you know, the houses in this area all look like domes, like semicircles cut in half and everything, to like explain it and stuff. Obviously you can, if you think about it, you can explain that a lot nicer, but you know, it definitely gives a lot more like, I don't know, realism in a way to the world. But yeah. And so like, you know, just doing that, thinking about that as well, it kind of, because now we've got like a weekly sandstorm kind of thing running around this place as well, where it's you know, this whole area, instead of just being a boring desert, now it's become you know, now it's become something like a point of interest on the map as well, where it's gonna be really fun for players to travel in here. It's not just you gotta make your way through endless desert and it's just gonna be really hot and that's it. Now you have to think of that, you have to think of other things, and you know, you could be like, are we writing down details of this world, or are we still tossing out ideas? I mean, we're still tossing out ideas, but they could all, like, we could still use any idea that we find. Potentially, what we can do here is like, imagine we build something around here. And this is like another kingdom. But we kind of like... Okay, you can't see here but imagine this was the symbol for like a castle. You know, you can draw something like this where it's a ruined castle. Stuff like that. You know, this would be like the door. This is like in the ruins or whatever. But like, this is a ruined castle. Alright, obviously I'm just doing a little sketch here. But maybe there was once a river that used to flow through here as well. Into a huge lake here where the old kingdom was. But then for some reason, whether it was because of the dragons or something, like maybe these guys accidentally killed a dragon, or they didn't offer enough whatever to the tribute to the dragon. Or somehow they offended the dragon, right? And the dragons pretty much cut off the river system from here. And so this whole lake dried up. And so the whole kingdom had to move, and they found an oasis over here. And so that's why the new kingdom is here, where they don't have to rely on the river. Or anything like that. Maybe this one also has just a natural underwater spring. But then, now this whole place, even though it's in ruins and the riverbed has dried up, there could be a lot of like, you know, treasure here, or something from, you know, the dragon attack. They all had to flee and build a whole thing over here. Now this is a whole nother interest. See, this whole point here was a bit bland, but now we have something where, you know, maybe this is a whole thieves hideout now. Or something like that, where some lost relic was hidden here, and you know, you have to go find it and travel. But you know, you have to be careful of the sandstorm coming around, and you have to be careful of the zombies that were fire zombies and everything. Stuff like that. When we start building the world, maybe there could be a split view where the map is on one side and the world nodes are on the other side. Yeah. Normally, yeah. I would write all these nodes down as well, but you know, sometimes for me, my memory kind of works in a way where a lot of times if I explain while I draw stuff, because I think I'm a very visual learner as well. If I'm trying to make all this while drawing stuff and actively like creating things, when I see this, I can remember a lot about it again. But if I'm just thinking of it in my head, it's very easy for me to forget. But because I've been like actively doing random sketches and stuff, as you see me like randomly point at places and everything, I feel like that helps me remember a lot, like, you know, how I was talking about this was a dwarf kingdom, but maybe no, that's not a dwarf kingdom anymore. There's humans and dwarves on both sides, but they all want the me through here and stuff. Like, I would remember that because that's how I built this map out. Like, a lot of points of interest are from, you know, I look at this and I kind of imagine about, yeah, because I thought the stream was building one. We all put a lot of ideas, so I thought that was going into the map. Yeah. Yeah, once again, this is still, you know, me just like kind of showing you guys my thought process, but then afterwards, you know, any ideas that you guys want, kind of like, you know, the Dragonborn Island or anything else as well, we can start adding in. I think those things as well kind of come a bit later once you've kind of looked into the geography of everything. Then you can, you know, once you have a lot of point of interest, then you can start adding a lot of other things to the map, like this is the place with the horses, and this is the place with all of the tall trees here. You can put a lot of tall pines and stuff, which, you know, and especially like when it comes to naming things as well, you know, you guys can help me decide on the names for everything, you know, how many cities there are, if you guys want to help name the cities, and all of that kind of thing. Seems like we got the geography pretty solid. Yeah, I mean, even everything, a lot of the things I'm making right now, I kind of just based off, the tangents I'm going off, I guess, is a lot based on suggestions I've been seeing in, suggestions I've been seeing in chat as well. Like the wizard towers everywhere, like the giant tree and everything. I kind of just going off what you guys are saying and then just adding it into into this map for now, and then afterwards we can kind of figure out what we want to keep, what we want to erase from it as well. But yeah, I just kind of also just going along, yeah, and just seeing things that I think could be interesting and telling you guys about as well. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or ideas as well, feel free to talk about them as well. Maybe this is a little forest as well to make this wizard tower seem a bit more isolated. But yeah, if you have any ideas, let me know and we can try see if we can work out ways to add them onto this map as well. Since there's a lot of water surrounding the bottom part of the landmass on the right, maybe we can have one of those pirate villages, or there's several trading hubs. Oh wait, on the left? On the right here? You mean on the left? A lot of water surrounding the bottom part of the landmass. Or you mean here? Wait. But yeah, definitely I think one of the things that I like doing in terms of like pirate stuff, sometimes, especially pirates, they want to the same landmass where you drew the mountains, since the area is mostly plains, right? Oh, you mean here? Yeah, I guess this one is just like the wizard tower. I think here it can be like a lot of different villages as well, like a port town and little villages along the coast to reach here. But yeah, for pirates, I think normally what I like doing for pirates as well is having these smaller kind of landmasses out in the water where they're not as big, so, and they're a bit further away from the land. We can, where do we want to put them? Maybe here, something like that. Oh, yeah. But oh, we can even put it just out here. And then, all right. But if you're talking about like pirate villages and stuff, normally pirates are like meant to be like people who do not live by the government rules and the kingdom rules and just do what they want and stuff. So a lot of times pirates would settle in like smaller islands that are very hard, like it's not worth for the kingdom to send like ships to try to take this island when there's like not much on the island beside a bunch of pirates living there. So a lot of times I was like, this is like where you can have your pirate adventures where it's a bit off from the mainland, and it kind of makes sense where maybe I'll put it out here instead. But having it somewhere out there could be fun for the pirates as well, where maybe they live all the way over here and it's gonna be a few days sail to get there. But yeah, this can be like, you know, we can have it as in like, you know, the something isles. That's always kind of a thing in fantasy, right? Like I'm pretty sure like League of Legends, what they have like the Shadow Isles or whatever it's called as well, like where Thresh and everything is from. Yeah, something like that. Altus, where are you creating your map? I'm just using a Clip Studio Paint to create it as well. Further out might be better for sea monsters. Yeah, stuff like that where we can also like have where did I put it? Okay, now going off what Cloudy said about pirates, because it's a whole pirate thing we're thinking of now, maybe there's an island here, a slightly larger island, and this is where the main pirates live. Okay, so once again, just going on a little tangent here. Okay, here's Pirate Island, guys. You know what? We could make it even more of a pirate island by like, you know, doing that kind of thing where it looks a little like a skull. You know, you gotta have that, right? Pilot Island, Skull Island, or whatever you want to call it. Kind of skull shaped, but not like, you know, too obviously skull shaped, but that's still skull shaped enough, right? And say a lot of times there might be like this might, oh, where's my, all right, where's this? Okay, these islands here might be called the Forgotten Isles or the whatever thing, right? Where maybe you can, sometimes you can draw a bunch of like, I forgot, but you can draw a bunch of fog or clouds or some kind of barrier around it. And maybe this islands are meant to be where, like, you know, kind of getting off One Piece or whatever, or just a normal thing where there was a famous pirate who buried his treasure, like a whole treasure hoard somewhere in these isles. But the thing is, you know, maybe there's a huge channel here, a huge current here that's very hard to get through. Like there's a storm as well that goes through here, and there's giant sea monsters that live in here, you know. And a lot of the pirates have always tried to sail across this, but you know, this is a whole shipwreck thing here because there's so many sea monsters in this area and everything, that you know, it's very hard for them to travel. So like maybe one adventure that you got, the players can go on is trying to brave the waters through the thing to find the forgotten or, you know, hidden treasure, right? And then, you know, we can start with here, right? This is some kind of port town as well, obviously. And maybe they start from here and they have to get to Piratville Island, then they have to get here. And then, you know, obviously we could have a whole adventure where we just zoom in and this is all we're looking at for the map. Stuff like that. But yeah, so there's a whole pirate adventure right there as well. This kind of shape makes me think they would probably have a curse on all of them. Maybe the treasure they get isn't for themselves but offering to a higher power to let them live. Yeah, potentially that could also be a thing. Where like once a year there's a giant, imagine once a year on Skull Island there's they have a festival or like a whole thing where all of the captains on the island all sail here and they have to grab something from these islands, and like maybe people do make it but they only come like out of like the 20 ships that sail there, only 2 or 3 ever make it back. And you know, those that make it back and normally come back with like blessed with fortune and everything, or whatever it is, right? And they have the protection of the sea or some kind of sea god as well. So, you know, a lot of times like aspiring captains or pirates here, you know, even though it's almost certain death with only 1 or 2 ships ever coming back, they still want to get off that wealth and all the blessings from the sea and stuff. So, you know, maybe they do worship some kind of sea god here as well. And they're like super superstitious or something. Stuff like that. High risk, high reward adventure, yeah. And you know, maybe if they do get the treasure is cursed but also blessed in a way, like they come back. Anyone that comes back from this place has some kind of marking on them. And everyone knows that that crew has been to the Forgotten Isles or whatever they're called. You know, no one, you pretty much have immunity because like they're superstitious, right? The pirates are like, if you kill somebody who has the marking of the whatever sea god, or the kraken or whatever it is, then, you know, then your ship is gonna sink the next time you go out. So pretty much as well, you know, obviously pirates are like always fighting, drinking, it's a dangerous life, but if you can make it there and back, you kind of guarantee the life of peace where no one's gonna bother you as well. Stuff like that, whatever it is. And that can be a whole adventure in itself, right? That can be a whole campaign just trying to make your way like to this island and all the way, you know, maybe there's a few other islands or whatever to get there. But yeah. But yeah, this is kind of how I make a D&D stuff, guys. You see, like just from like saying, oh, we should add a pirate island or pirate village and stuff, we create a whole like this area of the map now has its own life to it, where there's a whole yearly festival race for pirates and everything. This has their weekly sandstorms, everything. You know, and obviously you go around to each place and you start thinking of different you start thinking of different things that happen, and every place becomes interesting, if you know what I mean, where you're like, oh, I want to go explore this place, because it's not just gonna be you know, this isn't just gonna be an empty desert. There's like a whole abandoned kingdom here. There's a random sandstorm that turns people into vine zombies and everything. Even here, you know, with the whole horse stuff, you know, there's lots of horse, you know, maybe there's a whole thing from this place to say here. Maybe there's a race as well going on with, like how we said here, there's an annual festival. Maybe there's another one where people race horses from here, or like race a whole carriages from here to here. And you know, there's a whole race, and whoever comes first here is like, you know, it's a whole big thing where a lot of people gamble on it. Lots of nobles go watch the whole race, and it's like a big thing where it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-day race that happens. And you know, that could be a whole thing, like, okay, you're racing for 5 days, and you know, there's a lot of different encounters along the way. If you're successful in the encounter, you get ahead of everyone else. If you fail an encounter, you get behind, and you're trying to get as many successes as you can to come first. That can be a whole nother one shot. And then if we think about that, then we'll zoom in and be kind of thinking about, okay, what would be the different challenges for each day? And you'd want to put something on each place, like maybe just between here, like technically you could bring this in a little bit. This is kind of what I mean by like changing the maps. And then here is actually this really like swampy marsh place as well, where there's only one road to get through, but you're forbidden in the race, the races are forbidden to take the main road that goes through here. And so you have to figure out a way how to get through these marshes, and maybe for the carriages, you know, people, I don't know, make some kind of like, you know, for sleighs, how they have like this kind of thing on the bottom, like skis and stuff. Maybe you have to stop here, and this town is known for woodworking and making, you know, the conversions for carriages to get through the marshes or whatever it is. And that can be like a whole skill challenge or fun thing that the players can do, customizing the carriage to make it through. And then the second one, you can think of other things as well, like you know, we can also put mountains here, so maybe they have to go around the mountains for the last bit. But you know, you can think of a lot of different things on like this whole thing where people normally like race horses. There might be something to do, or like a reason why the race is here, and you can, you know, think of different things along that would make it fun each day for the players. Or you can do stuff like since it is near the coast as well, you know, it's a whole race, and you know, at each village there's a kind of objective to do, like this one maybe you have to catch this amount of fish here, or this one I don't know, you have to do something. But that's kind of fun things as well, where you can, these small villages that were first just like, okay, they're just little stops along the road, now you can give them a bit more life and go like, okay, this one I can add a forest here, because you know, obviously if these guys are meant to be expert carpenters, they need wood somehow, and so either they can get wood from here, or maybe can put a small forest over here with a different village that these guys communicate with by like, there's a port here, there's a port here, and they rely a lot on these guys. But that's just like building out the world as well. Stuff like that. And you can kind of see how you can keep going crazy with everything and really just build out the whole world. Maybe there's a migrating fish, only during that time they can catch. Exactly, they can be like some kind of flying fish here that they have to do skill challenges to catch if they want. Yeah, maybe there's like these flying fish here that they have to get in as part of the race as well, which is why it only happens at a certain time. Who knows? That's yeah. And yeah, perhaps maybe there's, yeah, but yeah. You can kind of see already from this whole path we've got like a really interesting thing going on, at least here. Like, we know a lot of things happening along this path, so if any time we have something there, you know, they can partake in the race, they can be traveling with water or whatever as well. And you know, you can even join things. Hello, Harumi. I say maybe the reason they do this race as well to get to here. And so I just want to let you know that today is my birthday. I may be older by one. Happy Ed Zenny. Renee, happy birthday. Everyone wish Renee a very big happy birthday. But thank you so much for popping by on your birthday, on your special day. I appreciate it. Hope your day has been going really well. But happy birthday. Let me hydrate as well. All right. Is that my cat or yours? I don't think so. I saw Kiri was sleeping the last time I saw her, so she's not in my room at the moment. But yeah, back to what I was saying as well, like, maybe the whole reason for this race to get to this fortress place as well is maybe there's a water here, right? Maybe there's something here where it is like we'd put some kind of feature here, right, where because this is on the something about being on the tip here is like maybe this place is home to like moon priestess or whatever it is. Amazing details, love it. Thank you, Mr. Johan, I appreciate it. Like once a year or once a month, or who knows. Maybe it can be a monthly race, it doesn't have to be yearly stuff, right? But maybe there's some kind of moon in because you know moon and water is kind of connected, but maybe there's some kind of moon maiden or something that lives in that's always at this place, and every month or every full moon they bless a specific kind of water thing. Like it becomes almost like you know, some kind of holy water thing or blessed water, and they can only bless a certain amount, and that is the kind of like maybe they can only bless 10 vials of water, and pretty much they need to, each competitor that enters that race has to try and make it here to deliver that vial of water, and this town then trades those vials of water with this kingdom, because maybe, you know, to ensure that this, you know, maybe there's a thing, a belief, or maybe an actual thing where the water here remains clean, because every month they get a delivery of like just one vial of like holy water. If they deliver it here, then you know, it helps purify and keep this water safe for the whole kingdom, and they kind of rely on that. And maybe the whole race is like a big thing, like this kingdom relies on this race, and so like, you know, maybe they somehow sponsor it or like do something where like the prize for anyone who reaches this whole thing in 10 days or whatever, you know, maybe it's not just 5-day race here, it's 10 days all the way to the kingdom. But you know, that race that happens every month or every half year, or every 1 year, or every full moon, however long it is, then you know, it keeps the fresh water for the whole kingdom for like a little longer. And so it's like an important thing where when it's blessed, it only has like a certain amount of time before it loses its power as well. So, you know, it's a whole thing as well. That can be a whole yeah, a whole campaign in itself, or a little mini campaign. Or one shot if I guess the one shot's long enough as well, where you know, it's like a 10-day journey, and if you win, then you know, you also get some kind of like, the kingdom thanks you, you get granted some kind of medal that everyone lets you know that you're a hero or whatever it is, and yeah, you get some fame and fortune, that kind of stuff. Because a lot of times in fantasy, a lot of people do stuff for fame and fortune, right? So yeah, that can be a whole, this whole like southern part and eastern part of the map is what happens. An island that rises onto land temporarily every few years. We could totally do that with this actually. You know, the Forgotten Isles, instead of having maybe for these isles as well, instead of having it being like some kind of fog that prevents people from going, maybe only once a year do these islands, normally they're submerged in water, maybe only once a year does the water get low enough that they're showing and people can explore. And maybe that's the whole thing with like, these are like sunken islands most of the year. So that's why there's only a specific time in the year that the pirates go out as well. And hello, Momo. How's it going? All right. Yeah. And you know, as well, one thing that could be fun as well is for, you know, we have lots of different races around the different map, but in the pirate one specifically, because, you know, it's a whole pirates, they don't listen to rules, they don't listen to governments and stuff. Maybe you can find like nearly every race on this pirate island, because that's just where anyone is welcome as long as you're like, you know, protect yourself and everything. So you can find, you know, elves, dwarves, orcs, lizardmen, dragonborn, fairies, whatever, mushroom people, whatever it is. You know, this can be like a whole thing of different people as well. And then they can look just from there as well, because these are pirates. This is like a sacred area that has like this holy water as well. Maybe another thing, another one shot is just pirates are gonna invade to try steal the holy water, or they're gonna try steal the holy maiden, the moon maiden, for themselves as well, for ransom or something. And then you as a little adventuring party, the players have to like defend the holy maiden from pirate attacks or something. That can be a completely different one shot as well. But yeah, you can kind of see from just looking around the map how kind of easy it is to think of a one shot, or a good kind of scenario for players to play in as well. So many stories can happen, exactly. And I feel like it just makes it a lot easier when you can visualize stuff rather than just like, if I try to think of half of these storylines just in my head without the map, it'd be so much harder. But because we have a map here, like I can just look at any bit and then start thinking of different stories or like things to do on the map, if you get what I mean. Yeah. The adventures everywhere for those with eyes to see. Exactly. But yeah, that's that's kind of how fun world building is as well. And now, especially like, you know, obviously it's still very messy, but you know, at first we started with a bunch of blobs and random shapes as well to make these islands. But even now when we look at it, even I'm sure for you guys when you look at this as well, it's very like it feels a lot more alive, where these places have a little bit more meaning to them. Can you make a giant mushroom? Giant mushroom's always fun. I do like having mushroom people. I don't know why, I feel like mushroom people always just make it be like, it feels a lot more fantastical as well. But you know, the mushroom people can totally be somewhere in the forest, right? Maybe there's a forest just before the dark forest here on the Dwarven Kingdom that has a lot of giant mushrooms as well on the side of this mountain, where a bunch of you know, mushroom people live and keep to themselves, and they live in like mushroom-esque houses. Who knows, maybe instead of just mushroom people, it could be like halflings, but like you know, they've kind of, over time, it's like almost these like mushroom halflings, where they're kind of humanoids, but they're kind of mushroom vegetables as well. I don't know, it's this weird thing where like, they're like mushroom people as well. And then we could like totally invent the whole thing as well, where maybe their main thing is they make potions out of mushrooms, which, you know, are very effective, but can have like a lot of different kind of effects depending on what mushroom. Like you can have a poison potion, or you can have a health potion, but it also has different side effects. Like if you take it, you accidentally either go like enlarge yourself or shrink yourself for like an hour and stuff like that. It could be a whole like chaotic kind of little adventure going to the mushroom people before, like preparing as you go into the dark forest to visit the elves. Say from this kingdom, you go through the mushroom kingdom and you have a whole bunch of like, you can prep yourself by purchasing a bunch of potions, but you know, it's always fun to make different potions as well. Like one of the potions I like making for players is like, it's a potion, right, made of mushroom stuff, but what it does is it heals, say you can say it heals, it has like a lot of healing, so it can heal 5d8. So like 5d8 means just, you know, you roll 5 8-sided die, and then dices, and then you just calculate the total, and that's like how much health you heal. But then you go, but it heals this much, but also you take, you know, 2d6 2d6 poison damage as well. So chances are you're gonna heal yourself, but if you roll a ones here and you roll like a lot, you could actually just damage yourself more than you can heal. It's a little bit of gotcha where normally average you should heal, but there's always that funny little thing where like, oh, are you gonna risk taking this potion? Technically, you could hurt yourself taking the potion if the rolls go bad, but you know, it kind of adds this kind of like, okay, these are made of mushrooms for mushroom people, so because you're necessarily not a mushroom person, maybe your constitution's a little different, so normally they can filter out the poison, but because of how they make it, maybe, you know, even though it has healing properties, it also still has, you know, the remnants of poison, and you guys, you know, when players have it, it does a little bit of damage. By right, it should heal them. But, you know, it makes it a lot more fun as well. Yeah, if you know what that means. So stuff like that. I really like thinking of that. Sometimes, you know, mushroom people, it could be like gnomes, right? You could, you know, in D&D, one of the races out there is called gnomes. If you can, it's not exactly like a garden gnome, but you could totally make it like garden gnomes, but mushroom people. And they're the ones that could be like making all these potions as well. If you just imagine gnomes, instead of their hats, they got like something on top of their hats as well. Like they still have their red caps, but then they also have like the Mario Toad mushroom on top. You know. Something like that, who knows, but you know, it could be an interesting, funny little thing where it's just a bunch of chaos before they go into the dark forest and have to deal with all the scary stuff as well. But then, once again, over here then, you know, this makes this forest very interesting because this is where a lot of the gnomes live. They live partly in the mountain, out of the mountain, a lot of mushrooms, and totally, you know, going here, it could lead to like the underground caverns and dungeons and the underdark and everything. With more different mushrooms, because the good thing about mushrooms is they don't need sunlight to grow. which also means that you can find them in deep caves and stuff. So maybe an adventure here as well is from all of this mushroom place. Instead of going to the Dark Kingdom, maybe it's also before you dive into the like heart of the mountain to look for something as well. And you know, you can find other kind of gnomes down here that are like the glowing mushroom type. Stuff like that, where you know they can have different potions where you know, because a lot of times, you know, obviously in dark caves you want to be able to see. Not all species or races have the ability to see in the dark, and maybe you can take a potion on a d6. If you roll a 1, alright, I think we should be back. We should be back. Refresh if FOD down. If stream down. Alright. Anyway. Welcome back, guys. The roll is too powerful. But as I was saying, in D&D there's something really fun called wild magic. Just like wild magic. And for wild magic, it's pretty much like there's a whole table. Like if you roll, you pretty much roll a d100. It's like or 2 d10s to make 100 as well. But there's pretty much like 1 to 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. There's a whole table, and it has a bunch of random effects like 3. Your skin turns purple, and bubbles come out of your mouth for the next hour, or whenever you speak, or you know, whatever it is. It's like a bunch of random effects. You turn into a sheep, you turn into a pot plant, whatever it is. But there's wild magic, right? There's a whole table that has a bunch of funny effects as well. You know, they can totally, the gnomes here, the mushroom people, can totally have a potion that might be like the special potion where any random number of effects can happen. Like we can make up a bunch of random effects, and you know, most of them can be good and some of them can be bad, or there's another one where most of them are bad and then some of them are good or whatever. But like, you know, it's always fun to see people just like gotcha on stuff like this and have random effects happen, so that can totally be a thing as well. But yeah, for potions as well, there's like an infinite number of kind of, depends on creativity as well. There's an infinite number of potions that you could make as well, or think of. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, you know, maybe the health potions that come from the factory here or the mushroom village are supplied to the entire, you know, they're supplied to the entire continent. And so everyone leaves these guys alone because, you know, they supply all the healing potions, which are very important. So yeah, they're left to their own devices. They offer a bunch of potions or mushrooms or something to the dragon, so they're left alone as well. But yeah, there's a whole thing over here as well then. But yeah, and then, you know, we could totally go with the like, there's giant trees, and then obviously this is like the world tree or something like that, kind of based off like Yggdrasil and everything, where you know, there's a bunch of ley lines or whatever, and this is a very important tree. But then, you know, and the elves protect it. Maybe the elves have become, you know, they're in agreement with the dragons as well. That, like, you know, the dragons also know how important this tree is, so they've been also making sure that no one attacks the elves or anything or harms the tree, which means that the elves have lived in prosperity and they've got a huge elven kingdom because no one dares to mess with them since the dragons are protecting them and stuff. Yeah, so that could be a whole thing, and then you can have a whole campaign where, like, say, the giants from the north, maybe, you know, this is one of the world tree. You know, maybe there's a bunch of different, instead of this being just the world tree, maybe it's one of the world trees where, like, on these crossing of ley lines where all this magic is flowing underneath the earth, sometimes these big trees grow there and kind of like bless the surrounding areas and everything, just because of the amount of mana and everything that kind of crossing or built up in that area. But then maybe the biggest tree is up north somewhere, in the frozen, like beyond the frozen lands, where all the giants are. But maybe here as well, then, you know, we could totally make a myth like thousands of years ago, you know, this forest where the elves lived, the kingdom, the forest was dying because of an evil kind of corruption. I don't know what kind of evil corruption, but you don't have to be that specific. You can just say evil, some kind of evil curse. And there was a band of brave, heroic elves that went to the giant kingdom and stole a seed from the actual world tree and brought it back here to plant this tree, which pretty much helped save this whole plant, help save the whole kingdom and everything around. And this tree maybe is important for like keeping this whole place, like just this whole area that you see in general, alive and well and away from like any of the kind of curses or anything. But maybe the giants are really furious that one of the you know, one of the seeds of the tree got stolen, and so maybe there's the giants coming down from the north trying to, I don't know, they think that this tree shouldn't be here and they want to destroy the tree, and there's gonna be a whole like war between the giants and the elves or something as well. And so you know, that could be a whole campaign, either trying to side with the elves, side with the giants, side with whatever, you know. So yeah, today's my birthday. Could you give me strong power? Harubi, happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday to Harubi. Okay, I'll give you some power. Mwah. And there's some power, but big happy birthday to you. I hope you're having a fun day. Hope you had a really good day as well. Please spoil yourself, eat lots of good food, but I'm glad you can make it on your special day as well. I side with the handsome. What if the elves are handsome, but the giants are also handsome? What if the giants have this rugged handsomeness to them? Or like they're a bunch of like, just really like strong muscly women? What if it's hard to decide just on the looks? Side with them all, be a double agent. But you know, you see how that's like a whole different thing, like a fun thing as well, where each kingdom and everything also has their own things going on, things that make the world feel more alive. and a bunch of things that could happen anywhere in this world. And you know, maybe so far, you know, maybe no one's at war. You know, there's the whole race here. There's these two, maybe right now these two kingdoms here. These two kingdoms. Maybe they're at peace because the dragons don't want any war and everyone has to listen to the dragons. And so they're both either sharing this place, sharing the mithril, or no one gets the mithril because the dragons are like, that's my treasure, don't touch. But then, what if these giants from the north, maybe they have special powers as well. Maybe there's a giant mage, and what they did is they did some kind of magic where there's like a bunch of clouds above this mountain, and this whole peak where the dragons are is just covered in snow, or like it gets super freezing up in the peak. And we'll say, you know, maybe it is some kind of red dragon or some dragon that is more like fire based, and because of how cold it gets, it puts the dragon to a hibernation as well. And so without the dragon that was like kind of keeping the peace and making sure everything was running okay in the kingdoms, because he's gone to sleep, everything starts happening. These two kingdoms start fighting, the dragons are asleep, they try take the mithril, and then, you know, the giants are trying to invade north since the dragon isn't protecting them anymore. They're trying to invade the elf kingdom. These guys, maybe because this kingdom is now focused on trying to get the mithril, you know, then the kingdom isn't focused on that race anymore, so they're not getting any more holy water, and they're like, wait, we need to somehow either go to the dragon or this kingdom to tell people to keep doing the race, because otherwise this water is going to dry up or whatever it is as well. And so like, kind of like how everything should be working peacefully, but because this dragon has gone to sleep, everything's kind of going to you know, everything's gone to chaos. And that's where we can kind of set it in, like, what would happen if the dragon keeping the peace was, you know, went to sleep, and then now all of the one-shots are happening, but like there's so much chaos, and like, you know, these two kingdoms are almost at war, and it's not sure if they're going to fight each other. There's this kingdom is trying to either, you have to journey through here up to the dragon to wake him up to help keep the peace so that this can run, you know, and stuff like that, where you can add little events where it kind of makes it so stuff is happening in the world, and I guess, you know, the players that are dropped in any place are gonna like have to deal with the consequences of that as well. But yeah, stuff happens at the same time, exactly. Yeah, or yeah, that's but yeah, that's pretty much I guess a good kind of I think today was a good first dive, I guess, into world building and map creation. You can kind of see that it's not just drawing a map, but like by drawing a map you can make so much so many things and think of so many situations and like create a bunch of situations that you can easily use for D&D. Like, it can be a whole campaign, it can just be one-shots. Now you got a bunch of different things. Yeah, I hope this was kind of fun for you guys. I think, you know, in the future we can do this again where I try to tidy up the map and everything, and then, you know, you guys can start helping me think of names and everything as well. We can go into more detail and draw things a bit better out. Yeah. And, you know, we can totally also, like, once again, if you guys have any ideas, like the giant mushroom spawned the whole mushroom people place, or like the pirate village is like the whole island stuff, and the horses is like the whole race between this kingdom to this kingdom, or like the wizard towers and everything. And yeah, you know, we can look into that more, because then I'll use those and I'll literally run the one-shots we think of. So that, you know, for we might do this whole pirate one-shot for like some of the FSP boys. We can do like maybe this whole race as like a 1 or 2 shot kind of thing. And we can do lots of different things, but yeah. At first I thought when you said drawing a map, you'll be like a small square like the one used on the TTRPG board game map. Oh, yeah, man. I wanted to do a bit of world building and build a whole map that would help us think about adventures for that I can run for like the boys in the future as well. The map kind of reminds me of maps in fantasy books like Aragon and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm inspired by, like Lord of the Rings and like all those other fantasy maps. And like, yeah, pretty much all the fantasy books and maps and everything is what I'm inspired by. Yeah, but you can see how we can go on a lot of tangents and create these kind of, like, pretty much we almost fleshed out the whole world. Just right here, if you know what I mean. Just in, it was like less than 3 hours, I think, right? Yeah, less than 3 hours, and we have a whole world, or at least part of a world that's been sort of fleshed out, built, and ready for a bunch of different campaigns and stuff. There's so many possibilities available. I think this is also one of the big reasons I like being a game master or dungeon master as well, because I really like this process. Just thinking about it, it really makes it more fun. And I think it is definitely more fun with you guys. Normally I'll just be doing this by myself, which can be fun as well, but I'm only limited to what I can think of, right? Where right now there's like, you know, I made 4 or 5 kingdoms, but with the input from you guys, like the whole pirate village and like all those different things, you know, it's stuff that I wouldn't necessarily think of or, you know, add in by myself, but because of the suggestions you guys make, it also helps, you know, helps me think of stuff that I didn't think of initially, and, you know, it also helps expand the world that way. But yeah, this is the map so far. I know I did a very messy job of it, but I think you guys get the idea, right? I'll definitely do another stream in the future, making it nice and tidying it up, and we can, you know, zoom in more detail about different stuff as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little dive into fantasy as well. I didn't realize how good of a tool map making is for creating an intricate story. Yeah, I think it really helps, especially for me being very visual as well. Just being able to see things and look at things, it just becomes a lot you know, it just helps to get the brain juices working. I didn't read D&D as that. Well, well, you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, there we go. We'll pick this up next time in the future. Let me save it first. D&D world map. Alright, save it as world map. We'll keep building on this so that I can use it in the future for one-shots and stuff, and it'll be kind of fun because then in the future you guys are gonna see when I run one-shots, we'll be basing it in this world and on this map that we made together. So hopefully that makes it more fun for you guys to be able to witness how this all comes alive, and it's kind of like you know, being able to see the behind the scenes of what I do as a DM. Because I kind of miss doing this, not gonna lie, since I haven't, you know, obviously I haven't really had the chance to DM very much since you know, all of the streaming and stuff. So big behind the curtain of GM, yeah. And for me as well, especially, I really enjoy planning all this out and creating these kind of things before I run campaigns and stuff. Just because, once again, as you guys know, I'm really into world building, lore, and everything else. So, yeah. I just gotta say, the talent, skill, and knowledge you have and use when you're creating this is awe-inspiring. Yeah, I mean, once again, I have made a lot of these maps before, so there's a lot of things I consider that, you know, sometimes at the very start you might not think of, but once again, I have been doing this for a while. Even stuff like, most of the time, you know, on the mountain range, there's gonna be normally a forest on one side of it and mostly kind of desert or less forest on another side as well, open fields or whatever, depending on the climate. But yeah. But yeah, I feel like D&D mostly is the thing I can nerd out the most about. Because I have spent like many years of my life DMing, world building and everything, and you know, it does come in handy for a lot of things. You know, when you get trapped in a crystal for thousands of years, guys, and all you can do is just imagine situations in your head, this is what happens. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know when we're gonna continue this, but I definitely do want to continue this because I think it's gonna help in the one-shots that we're gonna do in the future for some of the boys. So yeah, we'll definitely continue this, and hopefully we can continue making this into a really nice looking map as well. But you know what, so far I think we've only less than 3 hours. We have created a lot. We did a lot as well. Seeing hopefully it's fun, like when doing chemistry homework. I hope that's going good. But yeah, otherwise I have a lot of other fun stream ideas as well. But once again, I do want to do more arty kind of stuff, so you know, look forward to this or other kind of stuff. Like, once again, we can do more D&D related art stuff, like creating or thinking of different monsters in certain areas, or how different people would look, or the architecture in different areas. Or we could do, like, you know, art stuff that are more to do with the Zennies, like, you know, the fashion streams I was talking about, or drawing more different outfits for you guys, or like giving you guys different weapons and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and in this little spare time I get, I've been trying to refine the Adzentra design as well, you guys, so that I can put into a proper ref sheet so you guys can see the whole turnaround as well for yourselves. But yeah, still just working on that in between everything else I have going on. Because there's a lot going on, guys. I have a lot of I'm doing a lot of things right now, as you can tell. I'm a very busy Oni, but you know, I can't wait to show you guys eventually all of this stuff I've been working on. Alright, beside that, that's gonna be it for me. I'll let you guys know when the schedule has been approved. But as always, tomorrow 8 PM JST is going to be the Onizatsu, so if you guys want to just pop by for another Zatsu, where we just chill and talk about anything you guys want, then 8 PM JST like always. I will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, please make sure you get a good rest and everything else, take care of yourselves. If you're new here, I am Altus Zendoji, your true blue Oni of first stage production and second generation Ravenous. If you enjoyed comfy streams, hot men, and cuteness, smash that like buttons, become my sub, click the bell and save for notifications, join the membership for emotes and more stream my covers on no Utage and Shanti. Don't forget to leave a comment in the VOD as well if you really like this stream. Once again, the more comments I see, the more I can tell how much you guys liked it. And the more chance that I have of doing these kind of streams again. So, you know, make sure if you want to see more of any kind of stream I do in the future, if you enjoyed a stream in particular, then make sure you leave a comment as well. And, you know, I will look at the comments and see what you want to, what you guys like. So, once again, leave a comment down below, even if it's just like, I enjoyed this stream, thank you. I'd love to see it as well. I go through all of the VOD comments as well and try to like them from time to time. And I think it helps the algorithm and all of that too. So yeah, help me out if you can by leaving a comment. Otherwise, as always, don't forget to hydrate, stretch, eat something nice, be kind to yourself, both physically and mentally. And until our next adventure, adventurers, roll out. Bye bye. Bye bye.